Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Go-To Girl podcast, episode 100. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? 100 episodes, and it's been quite a journey. So for those of you that have been following for a while, and I actually had a client, somebody who just became my client, get in touch the other day and saying she's been listening to my podcast for ages. And it's so interesting, the podcast followers, they can follow you for ages and then they'll come out of the woodwork. She's just signed up to work with me in my influencers group, and I'm so excited to have her in the group, which is really exciting. I'll go into that a little bit later, but today on the 100th episode, and this is actually going to be, for me, the final episode of the Go-To Girl podcast as you know it. I'm moving on. I'm moving over to Blab, which I'm really excited about. I've recently launched my Blab show with two other fabulous women, Natalie Toloff and Lisa Black. It is called Inspire Higher. And we've done a few episodes so far. Just this last week, I interviewed the amazing, inspirational Amanda Betts about her journey and using failure to build a give back business. So you can check that out if you haven't already. Today in this episode, I thought I would share with you some of my highlights for the last half of 2015. It's been an amazing year, a huge year. I've got one special celebration that I'm going to start with. Some of you might already know it. Some of you will not know it. And so I'll start with that. I also will touch on three of my most popular episodes that I've recorded lately, and then go into a few little tools or tips, I guess really tools that I use with some of my coaching clients that I thought I'd share with you today. So let's get into it. So let's start with my celebration and my news that I want to share. We're not adding to our family, by the way. This is an announcement with my husband and I. We're not adding to our family, but we're doing something, which is really exciting. Just last week, so I'm recording this here a few days before Christmas, and just last week, my husband finished his last day of work. So exciting. We had this goal, actually, probably for the past 8 months. We had this goal that when I made enough money in my Go-To Girl business, where I help women entrepreneurs with social media and networking, et cetera, et cetera. When I made enough money in that business, when I got it to the point where I was giving so much and I was actually getting back in return the way that I hope everyone's business is going, that my husband was able to resign from his current job and A, spend more time with the kids, and B, follow his own dreams. So let me just clarify. He is not retired. He has basically closed the chapter on working for someone else. He is so ready, so done with working for somebody else and ready to follow his own path, which is so exciting. You guys, some of you will remember when you had that moment when you either left a job you didn't love or did not return to a job, maybe after having kids, because it just wasn't the lifestyle that you wanted anymore for yourself, and you went out on your own and started your own business, and the joys and challenges that come with that. Well, my husband is embarking on that journey, and also the journey of enjoying time with the kids. So many of you who know me or you've been following me for a while, we've got 3 children, age 9, age 7, age almost 5. And the goal was, of course, for Matt to resign before Xavier started school. So we've just squeaked in at the very end of the year. It means we get to spend the whole summer together as a family instead of me being in charge of all the kids all summer. So I'm pretty excited. It means we can work together on our own business ideas. We're the kind of geeky couple that takes notebooks and pens with us when we go on a date to a cafe or whatever, and we just like plan and get all excited about our goals and our visions and stuff like that. So now we can just geek out all summer, which is really cool. And the kids get to spend more time with Matt. He gets to spend more time in the kitchen, which is his happy place. I get to spend less time in the kitchen, so that's my happy place. So it's all very win-win. So I just wanted to share that with you, partly just to share my happiness, but also to inspire you, because I know there's people out there who have a similar vision for yourself. Either your husband is not loving his job, or your partner, you don't have to be married, or you want your business to just get to that level where you can have the freedom to do things like that, right? A while ago, on my vision board, one of our goals was for our daughter to take piano lessons. Now she's been doing that for all year, actually. We've just signed her up for another year of piano lessons. So you need to keep in mind your why, or your so that, like, what are you trying to achieve and who's it for, and what is that going to do for your lifestyle, rather than it being about just the money. But when I work with my clients, I like to talk about the money, because I like to talk about, like, what is your goal, in the year? What is your goal for the monthly goal of money? And why do you want, like, what is that money going to enable you to do? right? And then they start dreaming, and usually they're like, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, why don't you do that? And I just help them to think a little bit bigger, which is so much fun. And so I guess I really want to encourage you to do the same thing, to have a specific money goal and to know your why behind it, or your so that. And then of course to break it down and how to make it achievable, which I'll talk about at the end with one of my tips and one of my worksheets that I use to make that happen with some of my clients. So yeah, there's our exciting news. Husband resigned, not retired. Very exciting. Now, I'm going to touch on some of the most popular podcasts lately and some really cool moments for me in 2015. I'm going to go for a screen share here. Let's see if we can do this. I'm going to go for a screen share. Yeah, we'll do this. We'll see how we go. So I'm just going into the Go-To Girl Facebook page. So this is my Facebook page. One of my highlights this year was, of course, this is a photo here of the event that I did where I had Natalie Sisson, a lovely friend of mine and a business mentor. She came and did a keynote speech for us at my Go-To Girl networking event. Now, this event was awesome because we had 130 women at this event, and it was so interesting. Some of you that kind of believe in the power of the universe, right? Sometimes when we're not ready to step things up ourselves in business, the universe will often intervene. And that's what happened with me. I had booked the room as I always book it. I've done this event 10 times. I know it like the back of my hand. And I know that I always have to, now I have to stop selling tickets because I reach capacity. But this time, there was a bit of a miscommunication at the venue, and they did not have the room booked. They only had booked one room, whereas I normally take out both rooms, right? And they take down the dividing wall. So at the very 11th hour, meaning, well, 2 days before the event, they said to me, you know, we've got just a small group in the other room. And I said, what do you mean you've got a small group in the other room? I take both rooms. Turned out they had double booked. And I said, well, I guess I'm going to have to move into the big room, which is called the ABC room, where the gurus go. It's where Diane Levy and Nigel Latta and some of our other big speakers always present. This room holds 300 people. And I've never had I don't know if you call it the guts or the inclination or whatever, to book the big room. But you know what? The universe intervened, and all of a sudden, me and my 130 ladies, we were in the big room. So there I was on the elevated stage with my, with my microphone, but just a bigger room than usual. And it was so much fun, and I really loved it. So from now on, I'm totally booking the big room. And I think that's a great message for other people, is sometimes when you're not ready to step things up, interesting that sometimes the universe does. I'm just going to scroll down my page, remind you guys, if you haven't joined my online community, the Go-To Girl Mastermind group, I'm doing a half price Christmas special. So get on board with that. I think I'm going to close it off. Basically, I'll just go right till the end of December. So $23. That's New Zealand dollars. It's much cheaper in American dollars for your first month. And it's an amazing pay-as-you-go online community with masses of resources, live coaching, live online coaching sessions, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the other photos I'm scrolling down to is the photo of, here it's coming up, me and my husband celebrating our news. There it is. That was me sharing the news about our, and really doing a shout out, I guess, to supportive husbands that help us, or partners that help us along the way. So one of my amazing highlights that I loved was the networking event. The other one, of course, my amazing community of mastermind people. And these are ladies that I've just recently introduced to the group as my panel of experts in my mastermind group. We've got a health and wellness expert, a business finances expert, a fashion and styling, personal branding, graphic designer, MailChimp expert, virtual assistant. So there's so much goodness in there. So if you've been thinking about joining my community and you're not sure about it, now is the time, because you get to jump in and tap into all of that goodness. So excited. Another highlight for me was filming a really fun video with Tanya McQueen from Global Spirit Films. We just did another little quick video here all about my influencers group. So I guess I'll pin that to the top of the Go-To Girl page so you can check it out. It's that one's more of a from the heart video, whereas the previous one that Tanya and I filmed together was really like a fun and funny video, more about what Go-To Girl is about and how I can help your business. Another highlight for me, going to see Oprah. So Oprah came here to New Zealand. I went along with my beautiful friend, Kirsty Nixon. She's an artist. She does amazing New Zealand artwork. And we went along to Oprah to get inspired. And so many of my friends said, oh my gosh, how was Oprah? Was she amazing? And I was like, yeah, she was. But they were like, why? You don't seem excited. Of course I'm excited. But when you go and see Oprah, your expectations are so high. She completely met those expectations. And I guess the reason I wasn't bursting with excitement is because it was really reaffirming to me that the people I'm surrounding myself with and the philosophies and the kind of just the way that we're looking at the world is really aligned with what Oprah's doing. And so I didn't have any sort of earth-shattering moments because a lot of what she said, I totally am already on board with, which was just so lovely. You know, she was talking about things like when you don't listen to the whispers in your life, you get a shoulder tap. And when you don't listen to the shoulder tap, you get a slap in the face. And when you don't listen to the slap in the face, you get the Mack truck, you know, all that kind of stuff, which is stuff that I've heard before and I agree with, and I think it's so great. So I came away just feeling really calm and inspired, but not like buzzing like a crazy lady because I had already thought about a lot of those things. And I really like, I love Oprah. My friend sitting beside me, she's such a sweetheart. She goes, "You are so much like Oprah." I'm like, "Thank you so much." You know, because I do love the microphone. I do love inspiring people and asking tricky questions and all that kind of stuff. And she's definitely an inspiration. So speaking of inspiration, one of the other highlights I mentioned for me in 2015 was starting off the Blab show with these two other wonderful women. Here's an image that you can see me, Natalie T, and Lisa Black. And you can catch us every week on a Tuesday at 10:30 in New Zealand, which I do believe is Monday at about 1:30 Pacific time in America. So maybe just do the math for your own time zone. But we would love to see you on our Blab. If you don't know much about Blab, I did record a podcast not so long ago where I talk about the difference between Blab and Periscope and how to use them, what they are, how they can help your business. So have a listen to that episode if you haven't already. While I'm on the topic of other other podcasts that I've done, one of my favorite ones is that I did with Natalie Echtel from the Biz Chicks. And that one was creating and running private Facebook groups. So here you can see, this is the replay. This is episode 99, really popular episode because a lot of people are seeing the value of either joining or starting their own private Facebook group, right? So I've got my go-to girl group with 1,600 women. You're welcome to join that. That's my free group. And then I've got my paid mastermind group. It's got about 50 women in that group. And then I've got my smaller group, which is my influencers mastermind, my influencers group, which is 8 women. And at the moment, that group is full. At the moment, I am starting to take applications for my next group of influencers, which is a group of only 8 women who are ready to step things up and shine in 2016. And so if that speaks to you, then definitely fill out the application form. You can find it again on my Go-To Girl page. This here, I'll just have a quick photo here. This is the current group of women. And so one of the things I say here, if you're ready to step things up in your business, to truly shine and have more impact in 2016, I'd love to talk to you about how you can have more fun and flow in your life and business, all while being supported by an amazing group of women who you can let your guard down around. And these are the current group here. And then if you click the link, it takes you through to the application and et cetera, et cetera. And then it takes you through to have a bit of a conversation with me. So yay, we get to have a Skype call together and I can find out about your business and find out. So there's the application page there. It's a really quick 5-minute thing. And then it shows you, these are the girls in the group. This is what they're already saying about it, how much they're loving it. I love this one from Kate. So great. After just one call, I can already say clarity, direction, accountability, and connection and inspiration with and from dynamic, like-minded women entrepreneurs. Yeah, so that was great. So Kate, she's in Sydney. She's in Australia. She just joined. And after one call, she just was like blown away by how much value she got. So that was really cool because we get nuggets of wisdom, not only from me, but from the other girls in the group, which is so, so nice as well. So I'm going to come back to you and just finish off my kind of review of 2015 and how and you know, just some tips that I've got that you can apply maybe to your business as well to help you shine in 2016. There we go. I'm back. So my Connecting for a Cause event was another highlight for me. Now, this is an event where I took my networking events that I normally do, and I took my burning desire to change the world and make a difference, and I put them together. It wasn't my idea. I was, in fact, approached by a policeman who has sees domestic violence every single day in his job. And he was like, this is not good. We have got to make a difference. And so he had the concept of bringing together women entrepreneurs and the idea of a live, silent auction event. So all these women entrepreneurs donated these amazing items. Other women bid on them. Long story short, we raised $7,000 here in New Zealand, and we donated all of that, like everything, all the $7,000 to Shine, which is a organization here in New Zealand helping to make New Zealand homes domestic violence free. So exciting. I felt really inspired and empowered to be part of that. And as I say before, I don't have a story. I don't have my own story around domestic abuse. I mean, I'm no stranger to pain when it comes to having 3 babies, natural childbirth, with having back injuries in the past. Physical pain, I know, but only physical pain as a result of my own circumstances, if you know what I mean. No physical pain inflicted on me by other people. And so I just cannot imagine what it's like, but it doesn't mean I don't care. And I care so much. And I almost I hear these women's stories and I just cannot imagine. Some of you know, I lived through the earthquake in Christchurch. I had to protect my family. Our house was deemed inhabitable. We had to move. My husband lost his job. We had to move to a new city. We had to start again, all that stuff. And it just makes me think, imagine living in fear of the earthquake shake or whatever. Imagine living in fear of being attacked and feeling unsafe 24/7 in your own house, right? So I was scared in my house because of a natural disaster. That's one thing. But imagine being scared in your house because of your husband or your dad every day. That's why we raised the $7,000. So I'm so happy to be part of that. And going forward in 2016, we'll do something similar, whether it be another event for Shine or just raising money for something else. But what we called it was connecting for a cause. We're networking so that we can give back to a group of society. And there were girls in the audience. They knew that story personally, right? Like I said, I don't know that story personally. They know that story personally. And so we all want to do our bit to help. And I think it was just such an amazing event. So that was definitely one of the highlights for me. Another highlight for me was guesting on other people's podcasts. I had the joy of going on. I think Niall Nickel was just tweeting the other day all about our podcast where I went on. I talked about Periscope on his. I went on about 4 or 5 podcasts, and it was so much fun to be a guest for a change. I'm so accustomed to interviewing other people and sharing their story and shining the light on them, which I love to do. But, I love the limelight too, right? So it was so nice to be a guest on other people's podcasts. And now I'm doing the same thing for other people on the Blab show. So please do join us on Blab, or if you think that you would love to be interviewed, I do have a page on my website, Go To Girl. If you just look under podcast or Blab, you can find the page with a bit of information on it about that and how to put your name forward. Or if you have a guest that you want to suggest, we're more than open to your suggestions. So that's pretty exciting. So I guess I really wanted to say, for me, the big game changer for me, and the main reason why I was able to, get my husband to that point of resigning, was when I finally, and now this is probably in August this year, August 2015, I finally made the decision to invest money and time and effort into some coaching for myself, right? So Go-To Girl, me as the Go-To Girl, 3.5 years, I'd just been basically piecing it together, kind of making it up as I went along in terms of, listening to a couple of podcasts, listening to some webinars, going to some workshops, doing a retreat, but never having really a consistent plan about what I was doing, right? I was offering tons of different stuff. I like to trial different ideas, but I really hadn't got myself to that point of, well, number one, having a really high-end offer. And it's so interesting because sometimes you think, I'll help people at this level, but if you don't offer them something higher, they're not going to come to you and say, excuse me, can you offer me a 5K package? They're just not going to do it. So it's up to you as a service provider. If you really want to help people the way you say you want to, I think, put together a high-end offer, and you'll be surprised that how much people will want that. If they're the right fit, then it just makes sense, and it doesn't become an uncomfortable sales conversation. It's just it's something that can help them get to where they want to go. Then it's going to be a natural fit. So I guess that's one of my tips for you guys, is if you haven't thought about it for yourself, is to really start opening your mind as to what could I do that's a higher level than what I'm doing now. How can I serve my people by offering them something more than what they're getting at the moment, and that I can get paid accordingly for it, right? Whether that's like one-on-one coaching program for 6 months or whatever, or more of the one-to-many model. So as you know, I've got my mastermind group, right? 50 women. I'm looking at growing that to like 80, 100 women. And that's really my, it's really affordable. There's lots of women. But then I say to them, that's kind of like, that's like the slow, consistent road, which is great for some. But if you want to ramp things up way quicker and get that specific information for your business, then you go for my more high-end offer, my influencers group. So I think same thing for you guys is to look at what you're offering your people and think like, am I actually serving people at the both levels? I don't think you should have just one, just the high end. And I don't think you should have just the kind of low end. I think you need to cater to both. And, hey, I'm happy to toss some ideas around with you if you're stuck on that. That is a topic that for a lot of the girls in my group, in my influencers group, that's what we're working on for them, right? Either a one-on-one thing or a small group thing that makes sense for their people, like whether it be like a membership, whether it be a course or an online group or whatever it may be. So I think for you guys, that's one of the things I'd be encouraging you to look at is a high-end offer. And even if you're a product-based business as well, you can still add something or have add-ons to your normal product. If you like that, you might also like this, that kind of stuff. And even a higher end offer, and you can probably integrate some service into your business if you start really thinking outside the square, even if it's not you that's doing it, right? You might collaborate with somebody else that has a similar audience, and you've got the product, but they've got the service. And together you do a joint offering where it's a win-win situation. So there's so many ideas around that. And that's what I love doing, right? Brainstorming with people, not only doing the brainstorm, but then giving them the consistent steps that they need to take one step at a time to make those things happen. And so here's where I'm going to give you the tool before I wrap things up. This is one of the things I worked through with my girls when we were looking at planning for 2016. I don't know if you can see this really, but the idea is that you list, here it is, your services or your offerings down one column. And then for each of those, you say, how much do I love that really on a scale of 1 to 5? And how much time per month am I spending on that one particular service or offering? And how much money am I making per month on that one particular service or offering? And what does that translate to in terms of dollars per hour? Right? And I get them to do that for each and every service, right? Whether it's something they're already doing and also some things they're thinking of doing, like what they've got kind of on their radar and they're not sure. I'm like, well, before you launch it, let's just break it down and see how much time it would take you to deliver that thing, and also to plan or create that thing. How much would you love it? How much joy would it bring you anyway? Because it's not all about the money, right? You got to love what you're doing. So it's interesting when some people go and list all the services they're providing, and then all of a sudden they realize they've got a lot of ones and twos in the love department. And I'm like, you know what? If it's not bringing you the love, unless it's bringing you tons of money, and even then, I'd probably like just wipe it for 2016. You do not have to do what you've always done. And in fact, maybe now is a great time to really focus on the 3 key services or products that bring you the most joy, the most love, that bring you some really good money, and they really help your client. They genuinely help your client or customer. And so it's such a good time of year to reconsider that stuff. So that's like my little tool for you. How easy is that, right? Piece of paper. You can do it on a spreadsheet if you're a spreadsheet kind of person. You can do it on the whiteboard if you're a whiteboard kind of person. And then the next step, of course, is here's my dream board, but over there is the calendar, is to then go and put those things on the calendar as to when you're going to do them, whether they be a course or a workshop or a live event or a webinar or whatever it might be. So there's my little tip for you, is to create yourself a little chart of what you're already doing, how much love, time, and money, and then what is the dollar per hour. I do the dollar per hour. I don't want you to charge dollars per hour, but I do the dollar per hour so that you can compare apples and apples, so you can see how much money you're actually making per hour that you're putting into each service. And I think that really can help make things crystal clear. The other key part of that is for you to have an idea, how much money do I want to make in 2016? How much does that equal when I divide it by 12? How much money per month am I going to need to earn in order to make that goal? And then you do the math on the services you just figured out. And then it's just so doable, right? It's like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. And then I can help you with the how you're going to do it. The key, I call them action steps as to what you're going to do first and then next. And then after that to make it a reality. While not like working all the time, right? We also want you to look after yourself, and to spend time, me time and be time, to spend time looking after yourself as well as working on your business. So those are really my tips. The other tip I've got for you guys is my concept, which I call the shoulder tap. I see so many people doing like Facebook posts and emails, which is really cool. But sometimes if you're trying to fill a program and you've only got like me, 8 spots available, I would say write a list, a shoulder tap list. In fact, I've got my shoulder tap list over there out of view, which has got about 20 women on it. And it's like, for your new program, who are people that already know you? Like you're already warm to them. They're either friends with you or they're following you or they're very active on your business Facebook page. And why don't you just private message them or Facebook, email them privately, not a group email, privately email them, hey, so-and-so, I'm just about to launch my new influencers program, insert the name of your program. You came to mind, I think this would be great for your business in 2016, and I would absolutely love working with you. If you're intrigued, let me know and I'll flick you the details, right? Something like that, like super low key. And you're not sending them straight to a sales page. You're just sounding them out and you're making them know, well, you're making them feel special because genuinely you have this program coming up and genuinely they came to mind and you're just letting them know about it. Like it's super transparent, right? You don't have to be a big cheesy salesy post about it. It's a personal post with a personal invitation, like, hey, if that intrigues you, or if you're interested, let me know and I'll send you the details, or let me know and I'll put you on the list so you're one of the first people to find out when I launch it in early January or whatever the case may be. So there's my little tips for you guys, right? Consider your high-end offer. Put together a chart of your services and how much love and time and money, because a business, I love triangles, a business is all about the love, the money, and the time, right? And then think about who you can shoulder tap for an upcoming program or a workshop or whatever that you're running in 2016 so that you can just get things cranky in your business by doing what you love and working with amazing people. There's my tips. Okay. So thank you so much. 2 of the other podcasts I have to mention that were really popular was number 96, Key Tips for E-commerce. I interviewed my lovely business BFF, Jo Davenport from Vanilla Bloom. She gives some great tips on e-commerce. And I also number 90 about targeting your ideal clients with Facebook ads. So if you haven't listened to that one, listen to that one as well. If you want to ramp things up in 2016 and have a business that you love and have more impact without losing yourself in the process, that's what I'm doing in my influencers group. And I would love you to apply if you are a woman entrepreneur anywhere around the world. This is an online group. It's live coaching, one-on-one coaching in a group environment. You're going to love it. If you do nothing else, just click on the link so you can read the awesome testimonials from the girls in the group. Thank you so much for listening to the Go To Girl podcast. It's been a sheer pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you on Blab. Thanks so much.